Hello and welcome to video 7 in my Modelling in Maya series. We now have the first detail pass done on her torso and arms, plus we have fingers. So let's now turn our attention to the legs and feet, and I think we will go a step further and also give her toes too. Before we start, how would you like to help shape the future of this channel and keep these videos free? The quickest and easiest way to show support is to hit the thanks button below this video, or alternatively, simply visit my Ko-fi page and treat me to a coffee. Another option is to visit the antCGi store. Here you will find lots of free downloads plus all the course assets and scripts for each of my courses. Finally, you could become a member of the antCGi Club. For a small monthly donation, you will get access to some exclusive rewards and member perks. Just click the join button below to get started. Remember, the more support I get, the more time I can dedicate to creating more high quality content just for you. To get more information on how you can help, follow the link on the screen or in the description below. Okay, let's get on with the video. As you can see, the leg and foot are pretty basic, so let's add some detail. I think what I also want to do, as I mentioned in the intro, is give her some toes too, just to give you maximum flexibility. Let's look at the thigh area first. Okay, let's add a cut down here so we can define the crease where the sartorius muscle is. From here, down inside the leg. We actually have a few open edges here, so we could connect it to these. And loop that around. Now we can clean these triangles up. All I'm going to be doing is using techniques already covered a number of times in this course, so I will try not to repeat myself too much. So let's triangulate these and flip these edges. And delete these triangles. We can collapse here and delete this edge. So we now have a loop running around the inner thigh. We can push these edges in now to get a subtle crease. Let's follow this open edge here up and onto her stomach. That will do for now. Okay, let's look at her knee. So we need to be working around this area. First, we need some extra topology to play with, so we can define the kneecap. What we can do is simply select the faces at the front and extrude them. And now reshape these to match the concept art. Let's switch the lighting back to default. And delete the history. Let's relax this area too with the sculpting tools. Adjust a bit more. Okay, move these here to get a bit more subtle detail. Now onto the back of the knee. We need a new loop here so we can add the recess. Plus, it will give us more topology to work with as we add the foot. Let's move around the front and reroute the edge loops here so we can start to define the tibialis anterior muscle, which moves down across the shin. Something like this. And cut. Now clean these up to turn them into quads. Let's use the multi-cut tool for a change. And drop out of smooth mesh. It makes it easier to use the tool when you're working on the base model. And remove the middle edges. And now this one. Okay, good. Let's enable smooth mesh again and adjust some of the vertices. So you see, we are getting some subtle detail now. It's still early days though, but you can use the edge loops to help add the creases. Let's give it a quick clean. Okay, where next? I'm going to hide the opposite side for now. So let's add a loop here, and we can start to fill out the quadricep muscles above the knee. Let's adjust the inner thigh. I'm going to slide this over. Just hold Control and Shift. Now let's extend this edge loop down the leg. And relax the topology too. Just even out the spacing a little. So where shall we work next? There are a couple of open edges up here. Let's continue this one around the upper thigh. Select these edges and connect them. We can collapse this edge to turn these n-gons into quads. What about this edge? Okay, let's try running it up onto the torso for now. No, that doesn't work. I'll cut here for now. Okay, we can come back to this. A bit more topology relaxing with the sculpting tools. And we can focus on the pelvis a little now. Let's look at extending this open edge on the hip. Take it around the leg. And collapse this to bring them together. And let's clean up these triangles. Actually, let's triangulate this, and we can turn them back into quads. Now the topology looks wrong here. The edges are too close together, plus we have two open edges. Let's collapse these. And now flip this edge and see if we can move the triangle up into the pelvis. Okay? If we collapse this, it gives us two triangles, which we can turn into a quad. Just check the front now. And we can collapse these edges. It removes the crease in this area, but it also means we can see what the topology is like. So just adjust the shape. And we need to remove this triangle now. We can probably just follow this onto the middle of the model. Okay, good. So this open edge is bugging me now. Let's relax the topology a little bit first, just to even it out. How about we collapse this and make a triangle? Now flip the edge to move it up. So we do need more of a crease here. I'll try running an edge loop over the hip and then down across the buttock. Let's remove that triangle. And this one. Let's see if we can connect these open edges now. I'm not really sure that works. we're getting an unnatural crease. Okay, let's undo that. Instead, let's extend this across here and run this edge loop across the bottom of the spine. That looks better. So you see, when building a model like this, it's often more about experimenting with where edge loops can go and where things will work. Things don't always work out the right way the first time you try them. Right, time for another quick clean, and we'll relax the topology. I think we need the opposite side back now. I can see the shape needs filling out. Now we have this topology, we can refine the overall shapes and forms. What we also need to do is check the model against the image planes. We can see that we are off here, so let's fill out the thighs. And check from the side too. Yeah, this needs work. Let's use soft selection. And do a bit more adjusting. Okay, just zoom out to take a look at the model as a whole. So still lots to do, and there are areas that don't look right yet, but once the topology is in, we can then come back and adjust the shape and focus more on how the model is looking. Let's look at the lower legs now. For the ankle, we can simply hold Shift and extrude a face. And reposition it slightly. Now repeat this for the inner ankle. So this gives us a quick and easy shape, which is all quad based. What we can do now is connect this open edge above the ankle, with this one on the inner leg. So you see, we needed extra geometry further up the leg, but we can now also use this around the foot too. Let's add another edge loop around the foot. It's fine to add in more edge loops, but once you have the main shape, it's important to go back in and optimize the model. Only use the geometry you need. We can use this extra topology to add a bit more definition to the foot. I'll hide the opposite side again and clean up the model. Now relax again too. A bit more reshaping, I think. Right, let's connect this open edge here and run the new edge loop around the back of the ankle and up the other side. Remove the triangles and now adjust the heel. And now the rest of the foot. Make sure as you're working you're constantly adjusting the shape and keep referring to the reference. Let's take a step back. Okay, so I'm not sure about this area. I find that when I'm stuck on an area, I move on to something else while I think about what to do. So this is what I'm going to do here. I know that it's just kind of putting it off till later, but, it's just the way that I've got used to working. We do need an extra edge loop down the spine. Okay, more shape adjusting and tweaking. You do find that you come back to areas later because once you've had a break from them, the issues suddenly become obvious. Like the stomach here. We do need another edge loop running around it. We can add another edge loop around her middle too. And maybe connect that to the open edge down here. So that may not work because of the hip, but we can leave it for now because cleaning up the topology is more important at this stage. We will no doubt rework things when we come to do a second pass anyway. Let's see what we can do about the other open edge on her thigh. Okay, collapse here, and here. Yeah, that just looks strange now, like she has some sort of weird implant. We have another triangle here too. Okay, let's take a few steps back. Maybe collapse things this way instead. And now flip this edge to move it up. Okay, so why don't we add another edge loop and connect it to the open edge on the leg? And turn this into a quad. Still not perfect, but slightly better. Alright, time for a clean and a relax. We still have this triangle. Let's see if we can reroute it. So collapse a few edges here, and let's try cutting below it here. And turn that into a quad. Let's collapse this edge ring. And delete this edge. So this area is looking better now. We can try collapsing these to remove the triangle. Delete this edge. The triangle is now on the hip, so it's a bit more of an obvious place. I'll relax the model again while I think. So why don't we see if we can move the triangle? I could collapse the edge ring now across her buttock, but we need that topology there to help with the curve. Let's collapse this edge instead. And maybe we can collapse the edge ring running down the leg. Something like this. Okay, the upper leg topology is much better now. I'll just see if we can collapse further down now to remove this triangle. There we go. So I'm just going to speed things up a little bit now. I think we need another loop above the knee, just here. Okay, good. And relax again. And do a bit more work on the stomach area. We could use another edge loop in here. And we can probably collapse these. What I'm trying to do is even out the topology too, so we don't end up with areas that are too dense or too widely spaced. Bit more shape adjusting. And make sure you are always checking the reference. I know I keep saying it, but it is quite important. And also keep zooming out and checking on the model and just see how it's all balancing out and looking together. Okay, I think we will leave the leg for now. We have some subtle detail and the foundations which we can work upon later. Let's take a break from that and move down now and work on the foot. So to create the toes, we can cheat a little bit and reuse the finger model we created previously. We can repeat it and adjust them to form the 5 toes, like this. As you can see, we have 5 toes but just 4 quads at the front of the foot. So we need an extra one so we can attach all the toes. And we had the same issue with the hand if you remember, so we can take the same approach and extrude the side of the foot. This now gives us the extra geometry we need to get started. We now need to adjust the shape to match the toe models. And remove the front quads. Now to make things easier, I'm going to separate the toes. And then combine them. Let's isolate them for now. And all we need to do is use the bridge tool to join them together. Now select the outer edge loop and extrude it backwards. This is giving us a selection of polygons which we can use to attach to the foot. So let's bring back the main model and adjust the foot again to fit the toes. We now need to combine the 2 models, and this is so that we can patch them up together. And delete the history. The problem we have now is the topology on the toes doesn't match the foot, so we need to add some edge loops. To do this, we can select the faces and use the Add Divisions to Faces tool. If we leave it at the default settings and apply that, each quad is split into 4 because we are specifying that we want each face to be divided once. So let's undo that. If we change the settings to linearly, we can control what edges are added. If I set divisions in U to 2, you see we just get the vertical edges, which is what we need. Actually, let's add those to the faces further up the foot too. What we can do now is use the Target Weld tool to start working our way around the foot, welding the vertices to the toe geometry. Start at either end first, and gradually work your way in. It looks like we need a few more divisions here, and here. Let's weld those, maybe a few more. That's the top done, and now the bottom. So more divisions are needed here too. And don't worry about how things are looking at this stage. It's important that we just get the toes welded onto the foot. Okay, and that's the toes welded. It does look a bit weird for now. Let's relax the topology. And now we have them attached, we can bring the toes back together. We need to remove these edges here, which leaves us 2 triangles. but we can add more edges to turn those into quads. Now back to reshaping. Don't worry about all the n-gons for now, concentrate more on the main shape. Like I said, we can come back and start cleaning those up later. We probably need another edge loop here so we can work on the shape. Okay, let's bring back the model sheet and check the foot against it. Yeah, it looks like we're way off. Let's fix that. And relax again. Now let's tackle some of these open edges, and this is where things can get a little tricky. What we can do is use the extra topology to add some detail to the foot. To start, we can probably run an edge loop around the heel. And let's try and reroute this back towards the toes. This will give us the large mass you have behind the big toe. We can probably remove these now too. I'll add another edge loop here. And connect here. We can collapse here too, which will redirect the edge flow. I'll just rework the topology here too. And I'm going to use the sculpting tools again, but this time to adjust the shape. Let's fill out this area. And the heel too. We need to bring this area closer to the toes. What I want to do now is try and reroute the edge loops on top of the foot here. This is so we can get the tendon detail in. Plus, we might as well use the geometry now we have it. I'll triangulate these quads and flip some edges to try and adjust the edge flow. Now we need to move this triangle. Okay, that's better. We can work our way across and tidy up the topology a bit more. And the shape. Let's see if we can rework some of these open edges here. Maybe extend them up the foot too. So I'm going to work my way around now, trying to reroute or reduce some of these open edges. It's just like a big puzzle. And let's just relax those vertices again. And do a bit more shape adjusting. So we need to check it against the model sheet again. We need to remember to keep doing that. Also add in some detail at the back of the ankle, where the Achilles tendon is. From here on, it's just the same process, adjusting the shape, rerouting the edge loops, and optimizing as we go. Remember that this is just the first pass, so don't worry about going into as much detail as this. I got a bit carried away here. I'm going to adjust those edge loops so the tendon runs more into the middle of the leg. And also add an edge loop between the toes, which will help to give more of a crease between them. One thing you do have to keep in mind when building any model is how close people will be seeing it. So for example, will the camera ever be this close to the feet that it needs all this detail? Also remember to keep comparing against your reference. And we continue with the cleanup. Okay, so I'm going to stop myself here. I think we've done more than enough for this stage in the model. Before we move on to the next video, I want to quickly rework the lower leg. It just doesn't look right and it's been bugging me for a while. I think it's more the edge flow. I'll adjust the back 2 while we're here, and see if we can emphasise the calf muscles. We can use some of this extra topology to clean up the foot and the ankle. Let's add another loop down the front of the leg. This will help us to add a bit more definition to the muscles. Maybe this side instead. Oh, and I'm going to change the topology on the inner thigh too. I think I mentioned not being too happy with this earlier. Okay, right. I'm going to force myself to step away now. I think we've probably covered enough on the leg and the foot. So before we move on, let's delete the history. Bring back the environment and the lighting. And recreate the opposite side, so it all looks nice and pretty. Okay, so I think that's the first pass done on the body. So in the next video, we will work on bringing her face up to the same level. Okay, that's another video over. Thanks for watching right to the end, and make sure you also check out some of the other free videos and courses that I have available. If you have any questions, please post them in the antCGi community Discord server. At the moment, that's the best place to reach me, and if I'm not around, there are plenty of other talented people available to help. Remember, to help support future content and keep these videos free, hit the thanks button below, visit the antCGi store, or why not join the antCGi club. If you prefer, you can also treat me to a coffee at my coffee page. The link is on the screen now and in the description below. Thanks again for watching. This is antCGi signing off, and I will see you on the next one.